We can get started. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today with We Still Move. I'm really excited to be here with Lorena to talk a little bit about the healing practices that she holds and to talk a little bit about what we do. And so, this is our fourth care ritual at home where we spend half an hour just getting to know our healing practitioner and talking a little bit more about what kind of healing practices are are really holding us right now in this hard time. And so my name is Joanna, and I am one of the co-directors of We Still Move. And just to let you know a little bit about what we are or who we are, we still move cultivates well-being, resilience, and joy through movement and the healing arts. Our trauma-informed work is by and for women, gender-expansive, 2S LGBTQIA plus individuals from Black, Indigenous, and communities of color. And our offerings celebrate both ancestral wisdom and emergent practices, centering creating embodied spaces to reconnect with ourselves and each other. And so today we have Lorena Vasquez, who is the founder of Maíz and Yoga, e-yoga. And so we're here to learn a little bit more about you. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And just a minor correction. So my name is Lorena Velasquez,
What are you?
and then hyphen Lim. So I have a hyphen on my name. But yes, you said Vasquez, I think. And actually, there's a little story there. My sister's last name is actually Vasquez. And so, a lot of people, and, when we were younger, she's 10 years older and she'd be like, "Oh, is that your mom?" Like, no, but we kind of have a little bit of the same last name. So, yeah.
Well, then I must have just channeled your sister there because I don't know where it came from. Because I had put, your actual last name here. So that's interesting. But thanks for
Yeah.
sharing. And so Lorena is going to be teaching a yoga class later on this month on April 18th. And so today it's about getting to know Lorena, wondering, curiosity about why you chose yoga and the importance of yoga in our daily lives, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the actual workshop. And so, yes, and please feel free to put some questions down if you have any questions at any point, and we will be showing this in a later time as well. So, welcome everyone. And so let's get started. Lorena, what drew you to practice this healing modality? And tell me more about how you identify yoga, and then what led you to be acquainted with it and choose that your curadora modality to support our community well-being.
Sure. So yeah, I found yoga, 13 plus years ago now. And I found it, actually I went to a yoga studio out in Pasadena, and just because I was like, "Oh, I want to try something new, something different." But I actually didn't connect with the practice right away. Mostly I think because, I didn't see myself represented in the studios that I went to. Um, Later, a few years later, I actually did it's another type of yoga that was created, that was called booty yoga, and it was a little bit more, fast movement. I did find out later that that style was a little bit co-opted. Um, and so then I moved away from that, and then I started practicing at People's Yoga, actually. And they do, they have a more vinyasa flow of practice. And so I really found myself drawn to the flowiness of the vinyasa, yoga, and how we sync breath with movement. And so that's kind of, eventually I was like, I think that I want to teach this. And so I got my certification through them, through People's Yoga. And it was just like a deep calling that I was like, I think my next step in this journey is to teach, is to celebrate it, and to, like have people practice this because it's really impactful. It was really impactful for myself, and I wanted to share that with others as well.
And I think you brought in an important point, because I think that you know, in the different places where we host community clinics, a lot of people, especially people of color or our community, Latinx community, often are like, wait, yoga doesn't seem to be for me. And then I will ask questions like, why would you say that? She's like, oh, you have to either be skinny, or you have to be able to do these stretches, or you have to look a certain way. So there's definitely a lot of ideas around who practices yoga. And I'm sure, so when you mentioned, that it took a while because you didn't see yourself represented, could you speak a little bit more about that, and what have you had that experience, when you go into spaces and what have been the reflections from the community members in practicing yoga?
Yes. So yeah, I think that a lot of I think especially um, I don't think this is for me, and then they get
Hold on,
done
so
with the class.
uploading up for a little bit. Maybe if you move it, during a little lag.
Okay. Yeah, I thought I heard a lag too. See a lot of
You want to try?
Should we try it again?
Yeah, let's try again. Yeah, sometimes maybe moving the phone a little bit might help.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I can hear you now. So you were saying,
Okay.
so
No worries. Technical stuff comes up. I totally get it. We just roll with it. We just go with it.
you just rolled. Yes.
So I was saying that, when, through the opportunities of, we still move, I've been able to encounter a lot of our gente, a lot of our señoras that um are think like, oh, I don't know, this is not for me. And then after they've been in the session with me, they're like, oh, this is what yoga is. It's kind of like an aha moment.
Right.
And I really love to experience that realization for them, like, oh, actually it is. And so I do a lot of just is, you know, right, but it doesn't have to be, you can just sit still. I think, the impact really is about impacting ourselves, and also, our communities and our families. And I think that's really important when we practice some of these practices, or so when we do some of these practices.
And
And I'm
when
not sure if I answered your question.
yeah, no, you did. You did. I think that I'm always excited to see people try it and then see that, oh, and that kind of demystify, or that stigma or those ideas kind of get broken once they really try, when they really sit with what you were just mentioning, just sitting with their body and creating awareness through your breath and body movements. And so I touching on that, how would you, or just thinking about the impacts of yoga, can you tell us a little bit about, just how you seen people either be more open to it, or perhaps, seeing that connection between breath and body, how it's changed or impacted people? Had an opportunity to see some of people share that with you, or just, just even letting us know a little bit about what yoga and breath do, the impacts, the positive impacts it does on our body.
Yeah, definitely. So again, when we are moving so fast, I think that the world, and there's a lot going on, right? Life, and then in our community, like it affects us. And so having just a space, or a time or a tool, right? Like yoga is a tool, and I see that, just like anything else, right? Like sleeping is a tool. Like, it's a tool for us to regenerate, to rejuvenate, to reset, and show up for ourselves, for our families and our communities. And I think that's kind of like the impact that I've seen yoga have on people. I know it's had it on me, and again, when
Mm-hmm.
I'm I didn't know this was yoga. This was really relaxing. I kind of feel more kind of relaxed. I feel a little bit more energy, and so I really enjoy hearing that, because I'm like, okay, yes, that's exactly the impact we want to have within ourselves. And because when we feel more rejuvenated and relaxed, like, okay, like, well, maybe we're ready for the next thing, in our lives. And I think it just kind of opens you up. And through movement and exploring that, and just exploring the body, like, I think, especially right in our older generations, or even within our own selves, like sometimes, like, what does it mean to explore the body? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's a tons of ways of interpreting that, but with yoga we really get into, I know my sessions, like, really get into, like, really feel your body, like, where are you in space and time? What does your breath look like feel like right now? And just getting in touch with the senses that I feel often we don't are not able to get in touch with, because of our busy lives. Or it's like, you don't need that much. You maybe
Right.
you need a minute or two. Like, you just take a beat. Sometimes I'm in my office, I'm like going, and I'm like, okay, I need a break. So just a minute. I'm just gonna put my timer for a minute or two, maybe two. Like, just breathe in those 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, get back into it.
And with that, yeah, what is the best place to practice? Is there a certain place? Do people need to go have a membership or go somewhere? Where do we practice this, healing modality?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Anywhere. I think I first started when I first started, I went to studios. And then when I really got into it, like, I would practice at home, like on YouTube. Like, there's tons of, YouTube channels that have yoga. I have some that I would recommend, but I can't remember right now. But
Mhm.
um I would, I would usually look for people, things like that who I would look for on YouTube if I were to, have a practice. But that's one way to start. But another way to start is just by, again, holding yourself to 1 or 2 minutes, and your breath. And I conception, with especially with meditation, for example, is, oh, I have to be empty of my mind. It's like, actually, no, like, that's actually the work, right? Like, when you when where I'm in leading meditation, it's a lot of, the thoughts will come, right? Like, I didn't do the laundry, the beans are on, all the things, right? Like, all the
Yeah.
things that we have to do, and that's okay. And just, noticing the thoughts that come up, and then still sitting with that and becoming back to, and be starting. And it could be, you know um, when you're out on a walk and noticing the clouds, the sky, and just really tuning into that, and even wonder how this tree got here. And like that, even, grounding yourself to where you're at is one thing, wherever you're at, and then also noticing, and grounding yourself in that way.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I'm glad that you said that, because often when I hear meditation, they said, okay, you have to empty your thoughts. That's one of the hardest things for me to do because,
Yeah.
and humans, I think, because we're all thinkers and we're constantly like, and so I'm always thrown off by that. But I love when it says welcome those thoughts and then just kind of because they're going to be there, right? But then they kind of just
Yeah.
kind of fade away when you start becoming present to where
Yeah.
you're, and then you can notice what's in front of you or
Right.
what. And so, yeah, thank you for mentioning that because I know that
Hmm.
I'm open to that when it's kind of presented in that way versus like me
Yeah.
thinking that turn everything like just
Off.
yeah off completely. It would
Yeah.
gets there, but I think it goes into after you practice, you're in tune with your breath. But
Yeah.
first glance, it's like, oh my gosh, how am I ever gonna do that? There's no way.
And it's the opposite, right? Like the more you're like, okay, I have to have my like they're just coming, it's kind of like again, you you're kind of calling in what you don't want, but then it's coming, right?
Right.
So that's kind of the opposite of it, or the contradiction, I guess, in it.
Mhm. Yeah, no, definitely. What are some of the because we've seen you everywhere in the last couple of years. You've
Yeah.
been in different places. I know that with us, we've taught at parks, and then sometimes we go at our some of our sister orgs. And can you tell us a little bit more
Yeah.
about your journey in offering the yogas at different places? What is what maybe is your favorite place to practice, and yeah, what that journey being able to take this practice to many different places across LA.
Yeah, I mean, I again, and grateful to you all at We Still Move, because I've been able to do a lot of that work. It's interesting because I always, or at least since I got my certification, I thought, at first, I was, getting invited to kind of pop-ups and stuff, and at first I felt a little intimidated, but also like, oh, I want to be at a studio because I can't feel like if people are like liking it, um, then the opposite happened, right? Like again, I started getting more invited to more events. Um, and this is actually where I want to be. I don't want to be at a studio. I want to be doing pop-ups. I want to again be with the community and take this, to the community instead of someone coming to me at a studio.
Mhm.
Um, and and so I really,
Hold
oh
on, sorry.
wait,
I don't.
you did a filter.
I'm trying to get the comments out of the way. Oh my god, that was hilarious. Sorry about that, y'all. That kind scared me. Oh wow. Okay. So sorry about that. Another technical difficulty. Wow, all these different effects, not cool.
Not cool.
See, now
Oh, that
I
was
don't know what's
hilarious.
happening. Anyway. Oh my god, look at that.
You got me going.
Wait, I wanted
Now I'm like,
Okay, sorry. I'm really having trouble like moving things around on the phone and that's what happened. Okay.
this is
All right, here
definitely
we
a
go.
different, definitely a different platform that I have. This is actually my first live, like IG live, like interview. So it's a little, um, going back of like where and stuff. To me, it's not my preference actually to teach online. I
Mhm.
will admit that and say that, even though the upcoming class will be online, but I love that it's accessible, right? And so I think that's why I accept these invitations, because I'm like, yes, like the more I want to have it be accessible, yet knowing, like, personally, I 1,000% want to be in a room with people. You know, it's a different vibe, right?
Right,
Giving,
right,
being in community.
right. And you know, we've been,
One of
oh,
the pandemic.
what, sorry, what was that last part?
Oh, I said that that's one of the, you know, you don't even know if I want to call it a gift, that, you know, we able to communicate to the community. So that's what I was saying.
Yeah, and you know, I agree with you. We like to be in person and especially outdoors. So when we were in the clinics outdoors, we it was a different vibe and I really enjoyed those. And then we went inside a studio and there were, you know, there's pros and cons to everything, but
Sure.
you know, amenities is always great. But you know, we didn't expect to go back online again. But with,
Yeah.
you know, to provide a little bit of context, we moved
Yeah.
to the programming online again because of
Yeah.
the attack on our immigrant communities. And so
Yeah.
we started
Yeah.
noticing didn't want to go to the studio anymore, or were already telling me, I don't know about going to the center anymore because of, you know,
For
hey, what
sure.
happening. So that's why we pivoted and we started going to orgs and put it in doing the mobile clinics. But then, like you were
For
mentioning,
sure.
now how do we make it more accessible so people keep trying at home? And it's unfortunately, it feels like a pandemic in some ways. You know, it feels like we've kind of gone back to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's a great tool that we have this, and now we know how to do it online.
Yeah.
But it is, I think it's part of our humanity. We just want to be in person. We just want to
Yeah.
be. And so, but those are the times we live in, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
so, you know, going into that, so I'd love to spend the last couple minutes talking about the class you're going to teach. So we have, so we usually do an IG live like we're doing now, so you get to know our practitioner, and then we have a 90-minute class scheduled on April 18th at 10 a.m. So it's a Saturday, and so it's a 90-minute class where you get to intimately connect with Lorena and the practice. And so the class is called Yoga Flow to Release. And so, yeah, could you tell us a little bit more about this class, and then maybe what people would expect to do, and then maybe what they would need to bring?
Sure. So it's a little bit different than most of it is. I try to incorporate some dance into it. I really, yeah, I don't think I've gotten that adventurous at we still move events, but I have um I like to incorporate that. So we'll incorporate some dance in the beginning, and then some grounding techniques, you know, some breath, like I'll invite people to, you know, get in touch with their breath. And then we'll do some yoga poses, and then we'll close out with grounding again. But I wanted to say that in all of this, I will also incorporate some sound. Like I really, I'm also exploring, right, other more modalities, and I'm always learning. I love to always learn. But I really connect with sound. I mean, I know, you know, a lot of like the sound bowl, like which are really useful.
Mm-hmm.
However, I also think that it's really important to like have um like sound, that we all have sound within, and to release that and put that together with movement is really, really I think healing. I know it's been healing for part of myself. You know, I create something out loud size, like I invite people, right? It's an invitation, and it's
Right.
maybe like, you know, odd, you know, it's like not typical. But I do invite people to hear their own sounds and kind of like what that sounds like and what that does in terms of just like releasing um, sound and putting that with breath and movement.
Mm. Love that. I'm glad.
Yeah.
That's definitely a different step. I haven't seen that, and definitely looking forward to practicing that because, yeah, I mean, it only makes me think of like even finding your own voice. You know, sometimes it's hard
Yeah,
to find your own voice, and so giving now you're when you're breathing, you're already connecting with your body, and you know now you know putting another layer like your voice is it's a whole you know different, but it's all of you, and yeah, and especially
yeah,
I think there's so many things that limit our voice. And so this
right.
could be such a way to connect it and empower it or release it, like you said, and just like let go. So cool. Um, and so this will be on Saturday at 10 a.m. And
Yeah.
would it be like a regular? Do people need to set up their, you know, space in a different way? You know, do they need their yoga mat and any other recommendations for anything that they should bring?
Yeah. It'll be Saturday, April 18th. So I don't know if you said this Saturday or not, but just wanted to make a note that it'll be April 18th. And in terms of equipment or anything, you know, the gear that you may need, yeah, definitely a yoga mat if you have just soft to be on. It could be a towel, just it could be slippery, so I would also, you know, you know, kind of I'm weary to say a towel. But if like a floor, like floor in terms of like a tile floor or a wood floor is okay. Um, and then what else I would say? Bring your water. In terms of space, have enough space to move around. You don't need that much of a big space. But yeah, I think I think that's pretty much it.
Okay. Awesome. Well, yes, I'm sorry. I said this weekend, but no, April 18th. We still have a couple of weeks to go, and we will be
Yeah.
releasing the registration on our IG. And if you're already signed up to our newsletter, you'll receive it that way too. I'm sure, Lorena, you can, if you follow Lorena, you probably will see it on her socials. But Lorena, if you want to share your social, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
It's my at Maíz y Yoga um, on Instagram for the most part, and then people can see the website. I don't have a Facebook. Never had a Facebook for this account. Um, yeah, I haven't made one. I haven't gotten back into Facebook. I
It's, yeah, it's kind of hard, right? I'm always
yeah,
so challenged. I'm like, oh, everybody's always like, oh, did you find sign up for this and then that? And I'm like, no, no more.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
All right. But your IG and your website.
yes,
That's what. Okay. Awesome.
yeah.
And again, the class
Yeah.
is
So
called. Oh, sorry.
the IG will lead to the website.
Oh, right. The IG leads to the website. Okay. And then
No, no, no. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
oh, there's a little technical, a little lag there, everyone, but I hope you've been able to hear us. But yes, the class is Yoga Flow to Release, a 90-minute class happening April 18, 2026. And I think that's pretty much, you know, is there anything else you'd like to share? Anything else, another events or anything that coming up? Because I know you stay pretty busy too, serving the community. If not this
Uh,
place, they can see you.
yeah. So I do actually right the next day. I'm actually planning a 60-minute yoga session at a gym in Monterey Park. That's just opened up, and so I think it's called Rework Me. But it's not we haven't released the gym. Collaborator hasn't like released the next the next day on Sunday. That would be April 19th. And we're still trying to figure out the logistics out, but that's kind of the next one that I have lined up.
Okay, well, we'll as soon as you get it, share it with us, and then we'll
Will
put it
do.
platforms, and you all can visit Lorena's IG and then be able to find it there too. But in the meantime, thank you everybody for joining us and spending this 30 minutes with us, getting to know our wonderful healer, Lorena, in her yoga practice, which have been just incredible, restorative for our community members and myself. And so thank you, Lorena, for being here. And yeah, everybody else, stay tuned. April 18th. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.